So just a quick video today in response to an excellent question. I'm kind of surprised I haven't had this earlier because I talk about the no self. It's in the title of one of my books. And yet I also talk about many selves. And there's an exercise even in the book that how many selves in a day? And so, well, which is it? Can you have both? Well, is there one self or many selves? Well, it comes down to what do you mean by self? And so in the first sense of no self, we really go back to the Buddha's lecture. And in the Buddha's lecture, he pointed out that the self-illusion is really about buying into a continuous, stable sense of this kind of ego identity that uh, is the one stable thing across all situations. And so that was the illusion. And that, again, is what the left brain conjures up, a sense of consistency, when in fact the world is always changing and variations. And, you know, um, it's moving, it's dancing, it's not staying still. And so in the first sense, the self is a noun. And that's why, of course, neuroscience can't find it in the brain, because it can't find nouns, it can't find things. I mean, what would it even mean to find a self? You know, the other phrase, homunculus, like this little person. What would it be like to find such a thing in the brain? It would be kind of terrifying, almost like some kind of parasite. So in that sense, the self as a stable, solid thing is an illusion. And that's really right out of the Buddha's second lecture. And it's really what I'm talking about when I talk about neuroscience. They cannot find this stable, consistent self that exists across the lifespan or even across one day. Now, of course, in the book, I talk about how many selves you have in a day, because I'm not talking about the solid, consistent ego, this thing. What I'm talking about is a verb, a process. Verbs are very interesting because they have no tangible physicality to them. And so it's like, imagine someone's going for a run and then you like stop them and then you were trying to find running. I mean, there's no place you could point. It's a process. And that's what I'm getting to when I talk about the multiplicity of the selves. These ultimately are ideas, and ideas are processes. So they're not things. They are, the closest way we could talk about it is they are verbs, they are actions. And that's what we're continuously creating. So when we have this multiplicity of selves, it's really a multiplicity of actions, or we could even reduce it down to just a multiplicity of thoughts. And each thought itself is a process. And so when I talk about the many selves, the multiplicity, it's really just the multiplicity of thought. And I've discussed this in a couple other videos, that there's so much going on upstairs, but the left brain creates, in the same way it creates the illusion of a stable, constant, consistent thing, it creates the illusion of just one thought at a time. And there are all kinds of really interesting ways you can explore that there's far more going on than a single thought. And that's all stuff I've connected with processing in the right side of the brain.